Welcome to the Excel Purpose Show with Counselor.
Today we have with us Meng Teck, a business young gun, millionaire investor at 26, runs two companies, investing and helping business automate their sales and customer messaging. Welcome.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for having me.
Oh, it's really good to have you, Ming. We met at like a mastermind. I've got a mutual one, and I really wanted to hear more of your story because I saw you just amazing in your speech and everything. I was really captivated. So I want to really deep dive on what you do. So let's begin with, how did you even start this thing? Like, you are so young, right? And that's really impressive. When I see someone like you, it's like, how did someone become that way in mindset? Because most Asian, I presume, kind of grow up where like told to do certain things. Were your family like, are they business entrepreneur? Like, did they push you, or was that kind of spur on your own? How did that come about?
Well, my family is not really very entrepreneurial. My father was a lorry driver, and my mother, works in the supermarket as someone that restock the merchandise. Like when you buy something like groceries, or I think it's biscuit, and then it's empty and then she has to restock it. What made me started this entire journey was because I realized at 19 years old that if I continue to study very hard and get a good job as what was told to me, I became an engineer in Malaysia, I probably won't be able to live my dream life, even if one day I became a manager or someone like that, because I realized while I was working as customer service agent when I was 19 years old, I rented a small room right opposite my office building. And I was paying around 500, or actually less than that, a month for my room rental. And there were like 10 other people in the same apartment. And there was like a few engineers. And
Is
at
that
the
common
time,
in Malaysian culture, that a lot of people live in the one place, or?
room rental,
Yeah.
it can
Okay.
be, especially in the city. It's quite common for people to like rent a single room, and sometimes the owner, they may want to maximize their unit
Are
by
you guys in bunk beds or what? Like,
no, not really. It's just a same room, like few people share and rent the same room, and they just maximize the space. Some of them may have bunk beds actually, but some of them just sleep on the floor, things like that. So it's common to have
okay,
like 2 to 3 people if they're trying to save money.
right.
Yeah, it's super cheap actually, super cheap and affordable. And that's
Okay.
actually, to me, it's a workable solution if I'm trying to save up money and my income isn't very high. Anyway, so I was like intrigued, right? How come like the people that I want to become like engineer, which in my imagination is like they are having a lot of money and all this, are renting the room, right? And I asked them how much was their salary, and they say it's like 3,500 to 4,000. And that's where I realized, oh my God, because I was already making around 3,500 a month because I was making a lot of OT. And I realized, hey, that is not the path that I want to take in terms of money, because I want to retire my parents. Like Asian family,
Yeah.
the male son, I'm the only son, is supposed to take care of the parents. And I'm a bit of like a, big, like traditional Asian man, like those big men where I want to retire my parents,
Yeah.
wife for my wife and children. So like, even if I become manager, a 10 to 15,000 ringgit salary just won't cut it. So I know then I must either invest or become a businessman. That's why I push myself to go on that path.
So from there, that's actually really cool that you got those different perspectives. Like, I've never even thought about that, because when I moved out of home, like, I just lived alone. But you're right, like when you're living with so many other people, you actually get all this different perspective, and they're all at different stages in their life. So that's actually really cool. Now that you have this knowing that's not the path you want to go on, did you have mentors to guide you, or did you do a lot of research on your own? How did you dive into business just because you thought, oh, okay, well, that's not the path? But what really led you to trying something? Did you just start some small business first, or what happened?
Well, if you talk about mentors, right, my view of mentors is I don't know whether it's conventional or not. For me, anyone can be a mentor. I can learn something from anyone, even if they don't officially become my mentor or they don't even know I'm learning from them. Even
Yeah.
people who fail, I can learn from them. So to me, the spark was actually, I would say the biggest spark was when I was working as customer service agent. I saw like a free event on Facebook where they were giving seminar, free investment class in a university. So I went, and that opened my mind, right? Because they talk about compounding interest, investment, value investing, how Warren Buffett became the richest man in the world through stocks investment. And I got so passionate into this entire investment thing that I actually tried investing on my own after that. Just from attending like a 2 hours free class, I got some idea. And because I was so hungry at the time to break through into becoming a businessman or investor, I don't know how to be a businessman, but I know, hey, these stocks things, maybe I can try. So what I did was I went and find like a brokerage firm and I opened an account and I tried investing on my own. And within my first month, I made my first profit. And that's where it felt like, wow,
Wow.
it's real, man. I can really make profit aside from being a normal employee. I can make profit from investment. So it opened up possibility. What else can I do, right? Hey, this thing seems like it's working. I'm actually making like profit from finance market. So what else? So from there, I went and buy a lot of books to read. And I was so fortunate because I started with learning stocks investing. And stocks is part ownership in a business. So
Yeah.
as I was learning
I
stock
think a lot of
investing,
people don't realize that. You know,
yeah,
like people hear it, but they don't actually think I am actually part owner, like a very, very small slice of being an owner. I don't think people actually think of stock that way. So that's a good point.
yeah. In fact, actually, just for context, I actually run two business now. One is where I teach people how to invest in stocks, and another one is where I am trying to automate and, in fact, elevate a lot of the pain small and medium businesses they are having, which is kind of related. Maybe I'll go into them later. But anyway, I agree, that's true. And it's actually an advantage for people that know and see it as a part ownership in a business, especially in the US market. If you look at it like that, there could be a lot of opportunity when people are thinking short term and you're thinking a bit more longer term. There could be a lot of opportunity. So anyway, as I was
When it
learning
comes
about
to investing, just out of curiosity, do you invest like in companies in Malaysia? Do you invest in US, like in Australia, or like do you do like across a lot of places, or you focus on a particular aspect? Or
various. So I used to invest in Australia market as well. Then I also invest now in US market, Malaysia market, Hong Kong market. So globally, I look for opportunities. Yeah.
yeah, okay, cool.
So
And
anyway, while I was learning about stocks,
yeah,
and a lot of principles about stocks, actually part of it I'm learning about business because you're
mm,
evaluating business, right? So there's
yeah,
some basic knowledge about it, but it's more from analyzing perspective, right? And the time where I really get to experience doing business is at the same time that was around 2013. Smartphone were becoming like a huge thing, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Using it, and I bought my first smartphone, Samsung Galaxy Note 2, and I realized it made me so much more productive. I can read news, I can
mm,
look so many things. I
yeah,
didn't really have a lot of access to internet when I was young, so that was like the whole world's information is like in my phone, right?
yeah.
It made life so much easier. It's sort of like having a superpower at the time. That's what I feel. And I realized this thing is gonna change so many people's life. I want it to be like I want to introduce this to a lot of people, and of course make a living out of it. And at the time, internet marketing was very hot, blogging was very hot. So I had this idea where why don't I start a business where I sell smartphone online, and the way I do marketing is by writing blogs. So I wrote like what is QR code, what is a smartphone, things like that.
Oh,
And I started,
so you
yeah,
were blogging.
yeah, I have a blogging.
You
I
were
started,
blogging and selling products through the blogs.
yep.
As
And
an
that's how,
affiliate link, or
no, so I didn't even have much capital. I don't have experience running a store. So how was it? I thought, okay, I have two problems. First problem is I need to get this to introduce to others. Number two, I need to find, like, how can I find supplier
Yeah.
can have the phone to sell and make a margin out of it.
Yeah.
And I don't have much capital to stock up, right?
Mm.
So what I did was I Googled, suppliers of smartphone, and I called them, asked for price lists and etc. So I tried various ways. I asked if my friends know any supplier. And after looking at a few, I finally found one who is willing to work. I think he's trying to support me as a young entrepreneur. He was giving me very low prices for the phone, right?
Wow.
Because he bought a lot. I mean, he's quite a huge volume seller.
So he's
So
got scales of economies. Like he
yes,
buys a lot of stock. And you were able to leverage that so that you could actually bring to audience a cheaper price than if they walked into a shop to get it.
correct.
So,
And much cheaper,
wow,
actually. Cheaper.
that's
Uh,
crazy. That's
and
really got
on,
really resourceful. That's awesome.
yeah, and on top of that, I don't even need to come up with the capital first. So I can
Yeah.
I
And
sell
you don't
phone
have to have
first.
the warehouse because this is sitting somewhere else.
He is
You're just
managing the
pointing traffic
inventory.
to,
Yeah. I don't
yeah.
need to worry about anything else. There's order, I go and collect the phone, and then after I sell and I make a difference. And to come up with the capital is just for like the 1 or 2 days where I pay him for the phone and then I get the money
Yeah,
back.
and you
And
get it back anyway. So it,
yeah.
yeah.
So it
Wow.
didn't even require huge capital.
Mm.
And the way I do marketing was I just post on Facebook, post the blog, and somehow back then it was so much easier to sell things online, right?
Not as
But
much
one thing
people
was
were
people have,
in the game yet.
yeah. And one thing was people have a bit of trust issue back then. So what we did was we did like cash on delivery. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So
So,
there was like zero risk. It's like literally handed over.
yep.
Yeah.
And I actually made some gross profit out of it, but it was very small. And I didn't know how to do marketing like I do today.
Mm.
And I
Yeah.
don't know how to structure business like I do today. If I know, the business would be so much more powerful today
Part of the
because,
learning.
yeah, it's part of the learning. Because back then, I mean, at least for my level, first time doing the business with the level of knowledge, I feel, okay, it's something,
Yeah.
at least I wouldn't lose money. But it can be so much more if I have more skill and more knowledge that I
Yeah.
have to do. So anyway, 1 year into that, a lot of things happened. I recruited even my friends from my university. So after becoming a customer service agent, why I work there is because I have like 6 to 9 months break after my like sort of like A levels of Malaysia, like STPM.
Mm.
Then I went into university and I continued doing that smartphone business, selling smartphone business in university. Part of the reason why I'm doing that business is also because I know I'll be in university, so I don't have a way to make money. So side business is one of it. So I recruited some friends there, and one of them is still with me today in a different business, which is
Really?
the one teach people how to invest in stocks.
Oh, that's
So
awesome.
it's useful as a jumpstart for experience, for skill, for knowing people,
Mm.
Yeah. So anyway, 1 year after that, I stopped the smartphone business because it was too difficult. Too difficult in terms where even though it's lower risk in terms of like loss of money, but smartphone were getting updated so quickly and so many
Mm.
smartphones. I just can't keep up.
Yeah.
Like the like inventory, like wow, this is the new one, this is the new one. What are we
Yeah,
on
it
now?
wasn't like back because by then it wasn't like the Nokia 3310 when everyone just had one, or like the
Yeah.
first Ericsson where everyone had one. This is like now at the point when people are actually switching phone basically like every year when a new version comes out.
And there's so
Yeah.
many versions, so many
Yeah.
different like range, especially with like so many new brands coming in.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
difficult to manage. And anyway, I was very passionate about stocks at the time. Around the time 1 year after I start investing, I made my first 5 figure, which is like 60% gain. And I thought like, wow, I'm so good at this, man.
Yeah.
So anyway, I then started, because of passion, I started
Yeah.
teaching people how to invest in stocks in university. And that business scaled over time.
Whilst
To
you were doing uni full
Yeah,
time, you were doing this side business.
yeah. I
Yeah.
was
Wow.
seminar
What
and I
about
was
your
traveling.
social life? What's that part of it?
Well, actually, social life, I still have some because in being in university, I still have some, university
Yeah,
friends.
uni
But
is kind of
it's
fun
very
in
different,
itself.
like
Yeah.
I went to local university, government university. So a lot of the students there, they are they are in Malaysia, going to university is quite affordable, local university.
Right.
So a lot of students there, they are sort of like the good boys. Like if you are talking about clubbing or things like that, it's not so common. So it's like good boys. Our hangout is like we just go for like a tea session. That's our hangout, or maybe
Oh, right.
karaoke. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's our
yeah,
hangout.
okay. Not
Yeah.
downing some vodka or something. Were you studying engineering or did you study business or
Yeah, I
something
was
else?
studying engineering,
Oh, you were.
mechanical engineering. Yeah, so you can imagine our hangout session is quite, quite chill, those kind of
Yeah,
social.
yeah.
But I feel so grateful that I spend time doing those social because I get to meet different people from different background. My university have quite a lot of international students and also like people from different culture, races, which yeah, I wish I spent more time there actually. Yeah, for the
That's
social.
cool. So let's fast forward a little bit now. Then, yeah, I can tell like you would have just tried many things given your mindset. So tell me about this other business then, this automated business that's helping people scale. What's that about?
Yeah. So one of the breakthrough that I had with my this stocks education business, which is sort of like a seminar business, is we have very high attendance rate compared to the industry, compared to like benchmark. Our attendance rate for our webinar, free webinar, is super high. And what
You do them live or you do them via like
I
virtually?
do them live. So
Wow.
yeah, I do them live.
What are the
And
numbers are we looking at, like attending?
now it's about 50%. So
Yeah.
go to
And
register,
yeah.
free registrant to attendee is about 50%. Like benchmark, I think a lot of people are looking at like below 20%, even 15 or 10%
Mm.
now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because when it's free, people can press it, but they don't necessarily show up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, and now it's about 50%, but sometimes
Mhm.
it's like 20 something, 30%. But even that is usually above the benchmark consistently. And what is different is we actually do a lot of this WhatsApp follow-up. In Southeast Asia, it works a lot.
What's that?
Because yeah, WhatsApp. Um, if I
So
were
you
to learn,
collect phone numbers up on entry
yes. That's
during
why
registration or
today,
when they
right?
come into the door?
No, when they register, we collect phone number, and it's a requirement. So the other day, I
Do you
was
put
like
them all in a group or do you individually fire them from
individual,
fire system? Yeah.
individual. I have assistant that is doing that, right? I have a higher assistant just to do the follow up via WhatsApp and sales queries, sales follow up all via WhatsApp, and sometimes I even do call. So that's why I feel like this thing, it does improve our economics so much better, making it so much easier for us to be profitable. However, it's very manual, a lot of manual work, right?
Yeah.
And it's human, right? Sometimes like we are not robot. Sometimes we are busy, sometimes or what.
Yeah.
So and then back in 2022, and ChatGPT came out, and I was like mind blown. Wow, this thing
Oh,
is so much
yeah.
better than any
Yeah,
chatbot
I
out.
know. Yeah, that was crazy.
And being the entrepreneur, real mindset that I have, you see, back in 2013, I experienced a smartphone era. So
Yeah.
this feels so much like the smartphone explosion era.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's like the start of something new. And
Mm,
I just can't resist that. I want to start something, related to this. I feel this can
yeah,
change people's life. They just don't
for
understand how
sure.
good it is. So I was thinking idea, but I can't find. I cannot find an idea how this can be working. At first, I thought, oh, can I integrate this AI into stocks? But then I think other people may be able to do it much better because I have so much data. So where do I stand in this, right? And one day, I just somehow have this aha moment. What if I can bring this AI into WhatsApp to do sales follow-up with my clients, right? It can
Mm,
handle objection so well. It can handle all the queries at a massive scale. So I had this idea, but I do not really know how to code. I don't really like already know someone that is like a developer that I know. So I
mm.
went and like asked around, hey, do you know any developer and any developer? And a friend of mine, my best friend actually, he introduced me to his brother-in-law, who is a developer. And I think I got so lucky because the moment we meet, just click. And he also wanted to start something like that. And he has experience with AI, using AI as a chatbot to help businesses do things. So we just started this thing and we experimented. In around November, December last year, we actually rolled this out within my company, the seminar company, and we tried, and we actually collected like over 40 something thousand ringgit in sales with it. So it's not selling
Wow.
this software and collected the money. The software, the AI, collected money for this stock seminar education program. So it already proved, right? And they even know it's an AI. I told them you're talking to AI, and yet they will still reply. So it's a proof of concept that people don't mind talking to AI. And
They don't, when they are able to talk to you in a way that still makes you feel good. Yeah, like when I talk to ChatGPT, like I still feel good about that. Yeah, because it's not the same as, I think the way it's evolved is very different than when you like log into some company's site and you're talking to a chatbot and you're like saying something and it just randomly pulls out help guides that's like not related to what you're asking and go, "This is helpful." It's like, no, and then you're getting more and more frustrated, right? Whereas the AI evolution has gotten to a point when you talk to it, it's like it's actually talking to you back in things that is relevant to what you were looking for. That's why we like it.
Yep. And the beauty with like this AI is nowadays, we don't even need to know. I mean, you let the developer do all the difficult part. But when it comes to using it as user, we don't even need to know coding. We just, like how I configure the AI is just like talking to a human. So your job is to do this and you should do it this way, this way, this way. And if you find it doing something that is, you don't like, you can just go and add one more line. Please don't do this. Just like
Yes.
talking to a human. So it's so easy
Yeah.
nowadays.
Yeah, you can just refine it by asking it, and it's kind of teaching itself. It's like, okay, that person didn't like this output. Okay, I'll adjust my own input to give them the output that they're looking for. And then
Well,
you get to confirm that, right?
at this current level, at least with our app, it's still not able to do this, like learning on its own. We still need to go and monitor what's happening, and then we go and configure it. Yeah.
That's cool. It's cool to see you're doing that. So when can we expect to test it, use it, or where's the development of that at this point? Or
Well,
is it still just in-house?
right now, I already have a few early test users. If you want to try using it, I'm open to it. Just
Yeah.
that I'm not opening up for many early test users because I realize, because it's also the first time I'm doing like software related business. Once I have early test user, I start to get busy because like there will be queries, there will be some, some answers, some questions that I have to handle. And I cannot have too many early test user in the
Yeah.
beginning. I, still want to spend some time doing the development and things like that. So having a few early test users from different industries is very good because I can get different feedback from that. Yeah, so if you are open, you want to try, I welcome you. We are right now at the early user phase, and some people have already rolled it out. But I
Yeah.
think what it can do for their business can be so much more as we add a few more features. Yeah. So
Cool.
one of the example people have been using it for is like Airbnb, right? Airbnb is very text heavy. So you need to send them the passcode to enter the building. There will be a lot of questions. They will ask you like check-in, check-out date, and where is this thing, policies and etc. When it comes to booking as well as when people are staying. So having this AI being there to be able to automate it would be great. So right now we can do it like just answer normal queries, check-in, check-out time, what is the policy, how much is it, and all this. But moving forward, I'm hoping within this year, I can make it such that each person that book different unit will get a different response based on the unit, because some unit have hair dryer or aircon, 3 rooms, 2 rooms, or different passcode. So different AI will be able to be handling different persons. So it's super personalized. It's like having a personal concierge. Yeah.
That makes
And
sense. Because
it's
it
super
would
hands-off.
literally just
Yeah.
be a database of like kind of a tick box. Does this room has this feature? Does it not have it? And it's just basically reading that. And
Yeah.
all of that material would like normally be on a web page anyway. So it's just getting the AI to read this again and pull out the necessarily part to give it back to the customer. That's cool.
Yeah. So even when people are doing early testing, one thing I love is I explain this concept to people, then it sounds like it makes sense. But I like to see their reaction when they start getting their first text on the mobile number that they choose from the AI. That's where they're like, wow.
All
Love seeing
right,
that,
let's
man.
give that a go.
Yeah.
I'm happy to try that.
Yeah.
Then I can give the feedback to people after. Then
Yeah.
maybe there'll be like a second one of these where I'm like, okay, I've tried that thing and this is what happened.
Yeah. And in fact, yesterday, 2 days ago, not yesterday, I received my first call from AI. Like AI is calling me in like a human voice and can talk to me, and I can reply back in various ways, and it knows roughly how to handle if I configure it properly. So I just did that, and it's like super easy.
Can I get the AI to like just be my personal assistant and like read my calendar and remind me what I need to do for the day when I wake
Not
up?
yet, but it's super possible. With my app, not yet. You know, a lot of these capabilities are there. It's just that developers need to make it happen. The capabilities are there. It's actually quite easy to be done. You just need developers to make it happen.
Yeah,
Right?
I think it would be awesome because
Humans.
you know, like say something like a calendar, it's like all that information is already there.
Yep.
It's just instead of me looking at it, it's just like, good morning, Carls. Today is Wednesday, and in the morning at 9 o'clock you have this meeting. Like it's like I just want someone to tell me what I need to do.
This is perfectly doable. Perfectly
Yeah.
doable. But I think you don't need to wait for my company. Probably, I'm guessing like maybe
Probably
even
out there
Siri
somewhere.
can do that. I think probably Siri can do that like in the next 1 to 2 years. I'm just guessing, right? I won't be
Yeah.
surprised if, Apple doesn't make a move on that. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's exciting. So for your thing, what's the time frame you're expecting for it to possibly roll out for other people to use it? Sometime this year?
Yeah, I'm aiming for July. But let's see, right? Because when I rolled it out, one concept that I learned from my business, right, over the past few years is at first the idea, because I was very new to business, so I had the right mindset, which is to roll things out first, right? And then just do it, right?
I like that you said that. Let's talk about that because a
Yeah.
lot of people I talk to, they have an idea or they want to execute on something, but they don't know if it's going to be like perfect or whatever. So they like, just sit there with the idea. And just then you said something, and I don't want people to miss it. It's like you just said you just do it. So what would you say the timing is, or what your mindset is when you have this idea? How do you go about executing that? Because you sound like someone that would just go and ask a lot of people if it's possible. How does someone do that if they're not doing that right now? What would your advice be?
Well, actually, two things. First, I think if somebody is waiting before they start, and I think that's where you come in, right, with NLP Excel Mind. Is probably there is some fear, whether they acknowledge it or not. I think the reason why procrastination happens is due to fear. And fear sometimes can be rational or irrational, right? Irrational means it is subconscious, for like they can't think of a logical reason, or they don't even acknowledge they have some fear. Somehow they just procrastinate. Conscious wise means there is an actual risk to doing that. Right? For me, when I start something and I take action, I will ask, what's the worst case scenario? If worst case scenario is actually not a big deal, like it won't destroy my life and it's like it's not a big deal, then just go and try, right?
Yes.
So that's number one. So you have to consciously ask
I
yourself.
have that too. That's usually the question I ask myself as well. When I do something really uncomfortable, I'm like, what is the absolute worst scenario? I'm not going to die.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, cool.
So,
It's good to know there's like that common, like, it's a very similar thing of how our brain run through that decision making and go, okay, well, if it's not death or I'm not at a huge financial risk at this thing, then it's like we've actually calculated that risk to go, it's worth trying. Because what's the alternative? Do you do that as well? Like, what's the alternative of not doing it?
Definitely. The alternative is a lot of people don't actually look at opportunity cost because they feel like they're not losing anything. But to me, it's a loss. Let's say if I miss out on this AI wave,
Yeah.
I don't know whether I can live with myself when I'm old. I may, it will be a damage to my self-esteem. Oh, how
Right.
can this thing? I'm using ChatGPT so early on. How can I miss this thing, man?
Right. The
Yeah.
window of opportunity, you were like, I was
Yeah.
there, I had the idea, I see the opportunity, and if I didn't execute it, it's like that's regret, man.
Yeah, that is super huge regret. So to me, that is bigger risk than not starting, right?
And it's the
So
leaving money on the table, right? Because the point you're talking about, the opportunity cost, is I think people miss this a lot. And I had to learn this lesson really early on too. So the opportunity cost, you were saying that you feel like if you take no action, you're not making any loss. But it's like the loss is all the money that you've left on the table.
even when it comes to stock investing, the similar idea can be applied. Selling a stock too early. People think there's no loss in that. Actually, when let's say the stock went up 50%, but it could go up 5x, but you sold at 50%, you're missing out all this. And all the other gains is important to cover whatever loss you're making elsewhere, because not every investment is gonna be profitable. So that's why opportunity cost is very important, and you will see like very successful people, they talk about it a lot actually. So anyway, that's number one. Number two
Wait,
would
how
be
did you learn about opportunity costs? Because this is really important. I don't see a lot of people realize this because people are so short-term focused and they don't actually, even though they may hear this concept, they don't really get it. How did you understand this
I think a
opportunity
lot
cost?
of it comes from my investment experience. Yeah, because we look at that a lot.
So yeah, you're seeing it. You can keep banking up that money and people selling too early. That's where you learned it. Okay.
That's what I learned actually. It's more important to make big wins to fully maximize our gain, because that is needed to cover our loss where eventually we may make the loss. If we don't have the big gains and then we have all these small loss, our return may not be great. So that is one of the very important thing I learned. So the second thing when it comes to taking action for somebody that's waiting is, you may look at it like such a big task and it's very intimidating. Like you want to create something very big. Break it down into smaller things. Like instead of such a big goal, it could be something you want to achieve in 10 years. Then break it down to 1 year. Within 1 year, what do you want to achieve if you eventually want to get there? Okay, then what is something that you can do right now within the next 1 week, just to start, just to explore? Break it down into smaller things and just do the first thing. Don't even need to think so long.
Yeah.
Just first thing first. The
How do
small
people stop the, oh, what about this? Or what about this? Or what about this?
I don't even think that far, I have a
Me
long-term
neither.
vision, but things change. Once you do
Yeah.
business, you notice whatever plan you have, highly likely it's gonna change. Like even 1 year plan, you're gonna change, right? Over
Yeah,
time,
it's
as you
just,
get feedback.
yeah.
Yeah. But once
Because
you
the
make the first
mind
step,
broadens. I think this is the part that people miss, right? Like, whilst we are taking each small step, it's not that we didn't have a vision of where we wanted to land. That's there just vaguely, and it's okay that it's vague, right? Because as you take those steps, like your vision and what you know will actually broaden, and that changes the actual game plan because you're like, oh, there's more things possible.
yep, correct. And actually, as you take the first step, automatically you will take the second step because
Yeah,
it will compel you, right?
yeah.
And yeah, just start with the first small thing, and the rest should probably take care of itself over time. It's
How do
usually taking.
people know that that would happen for them? Like, how do they know that's the right decision to keep taking the steps?
Well,
Like, when do
it's
you cut off? Like, because you've tried different things, right? So as you take one step, and when do you get into a situation where you go, that's not the step I want, and then you go, okay, no, I shift or I pivot, and it's like, oh, okay, this is more the right thing. How do you make that decision?
I don't know whether I'm the right one to ask in this, because I am very stubbornly persistent when I try something, especially something that I'm passionate in, even if it's difficult and I feel
You just decide and you keep going. It's like, if this is the thing, you'll find your way to get there. Like, whatever. Like, I'll ask people until I get. Yeah, okay.
And if I cannot find, then I just rest. But I won't give up. It's not a matter of giving up. If I am out of option now, then I just wait. Maybe a few months later, something will surface, something like that.
Oh, so you can be at peace as well. So it's like, okay, if I haven't found it, you'll just be like, okay, well, I'll chill back a little. Maybe I'll explore something else, work on something else because you're busy anyway. But this thing, you just don't give up. It's like, it's still at the back of your mind. And it's like, oh, okay, this piece, I found that missing puzzle now. Okay, I can slot this in and I can make traction now. Is that, yeah?
Correct. I like the word that you're using, back of the mind. I'm not like NLP expert or what, but I believe in the subconscious mind is actually it's very magical. Sometimes you're not thinking about a thing, but somehow the mind is somehow attracting, thinking, resolving things.
Yeah.
And when you're not noticing, especially like, let's say you are taking a vacation, you're taking a chill, right? Taking back, suddenly you just have this idea, oh my God, I figured it out of the blue. Right? Then things start
Because your
moving
mind's not
again.
cluttered with all the stress and office work and the usual thing that is so cluttering. It's like when you go on holiday, it's like, oh, okay, your mind actually has space.
Yeah. However, I need to share that sometimes where I do give up on a business idea on something, the reason will be because I think it's no longer worthwhile. It's not worthwhile. Even
Can
if
you
I
give me an
achieve it, it's
example
not
of
worth
that?
it.
What becomes like not worthwhile?
Well, I give you the first the example of the business that I started, the first year smartphone.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. It's like it
To
was a good
me,
idea at that point, but then you realized for the time you're putting into making the blog and the technology change and the environment that we're in, it's like, oh, okay, that is not as viable than making taking a step that you go, okay, I can actually make more money doing something else with a better idea.
and having a better life, something I'm passionate in, something I'm doing anyway. So that is much more worthwhile for me, right?
What's your like the North Star for you? What do you hold on to? Is it like is it the better life that is like always that's the thing that pins you to go, okay, well, this thing is not giving me a better life. I switch. Like, is that the motivator for you, or what is it?
I think mainly it will be meaning. Is this thing
Meaning. Yeah.
Yeah. Because if you just talk about making money, I think there are some ways where I can make more money faster, easier, even now than doing what I'm doing now.
100%.
But I think money, when it comes to a point when we have enough,
Yes.
then meaning is very important as well. So I
Yes.
want to make a lot of money, no doubt about it, but at the same time doing something that I feel meaningful about, that I feel this thing, even if I don't do, somebody should do. And when it comes to business, it has to be something where even if you are not getting paid for it, not to say you don't want to get paid for it, but even if you are not getting paid for it, you still will do it because you find that it's important. Because why? Business sometimes get tough. Sometimes you're losing money.
Yes.
So why are you doing it when you're losing money and getting all these problems? It's actually easier to do something else. And what keeps you going during that time is you feel this thing is important. Even if you don't do, you want somebody to do it, right?
Yes.
Somebody
I've got the chill from you saying that. It's like, because it really resonates. I 100% agree with you. The meaning is what pulls us through. It's what pulls us through in the hard times of entrepreneur journey. It's like, if there was no meaning to it, you wouldn't slug it out. Like, the entrepreneur journey is a tough journey, and there are times when it's stressful. Like, and you would only get through it when something is very meaningful. What is that meaning for you?
For me, it would be something that I feel is having a huge impact in other people's life. So, for example, when I teach people how to invest, it's having a huge impact in their life, right?
Yeah.
If they can do it properly. And when it comes to this sales bot, it transformed even my life, right? And it can transform so many people's life and their business as well. Like, one of the pain that a lot of business owners are having is like when they want to scale, they do not know where to find the right people. They don't have time to do training. So this thing can help scaling a lot. And when it comes to customer service, it can even give a better, consistent experience for their customer. Prompt reply, they can see what is being replied, following their SOP, right? All these things, and it reduces their financial stress because there's no like very huge overhead cost every month, right? When it comes to scaling. And their employees, if you are already doing this, can have a better life, because now instead of doing messaging forwarding, you can actually now focus on doing higher level stuff, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
To me, that's very
they're not down doing the nitty-gritty, boring data crunching stuff, but it's like there is something that's helping them with better tools that they can do their work more efficiently. So naturally, they are a more happy
yeah, because
employee.
let's say they are supposed to be salesperson, they are not like message forwarding person, right? They're not like
Yeah.
robot. They're supposed to doing sales. Yeah.
Oh, so fun talking to you. Could talk to you all day. But all right. Well, it's been lovely. We'll wrap this up for now. If people want to know more about you, what's the best place for them to go to?
Well, they can visit my Instagram. It's Meng, Meng, then a lowercase, I don't know what is that, like a line lowercase, underscore Teck, Meng Teck, right?
Yes.
And that's where they can follow me. Yeah. And I will
Yeah,
do
awesome. I'll make sure to link that into our session. Thank you for
Thank you for
thank you
having
for
me.
coming.
You are a great interviewer. It's a breeze. It's easy to share because you ask very good questions. Yeah.
Thank you. So fun.
Excel in life, live your purpose, be free.